This video today is in answer to some emails that I've received from people who are rather distraught over the video I made about homosexuality and transgenders. And I was trying to find some other records to use in this video too, but I haven't had much success finding it in the Bible. But that is what this video has to do with. And I'm going to start it off by asking people who feel that religion isn't a valid thing to use in your life. It's existed for 2,000 years, if not longer than that. If not for the fact that this, which is the Holy Bible, has existed at least for 2,000 years. People have lived by it, they've accepted it. And here's a real eye-opener for the homosexual community. I'm reading from Romans 1, and it's in, I believe, verse 27. And likewise also the men, leaving the natural use of the woman, burned in their lust one towards another, men with men, working that which is unseemly, and receiving in themselves that recompense of their error which was met. Now this is written 2,000 years ago. First of all, homosexuality has existed even during the time when Jesus was on earth. But that doesn't make it any more right today than it was then. The fact of the matter is that people have known, not only from this, but from common sense, that if you do something and you know it's morally wrong and you still do it, according to what God's Word says, you're still wrong. It doesn't make it justified because you believe that things are outdated in this book. This book hasn't changed in 2,000 years. It's not going to change in 2,000 years. Why? Because God wrote this. People are going to say, oh no, God did not write it, it was written by men. Wrong. God inspired men to write this. There's a difference. When a man writes something down, it's his opinion. That's not true of the Bible. Why? Because in 2,000 years, if it was man's opinion, it would have already have gathered dust or have become dust. But when it's God who writes this in his hearts of those who believe in him, and if not in society, because people have known about the Bible for a lot longer than even homosexuality even has existed, then you have to start asking yourself one question. If God said it was wrong 2,000 years ago, why is it still not wrong today? Just because you say this is the way I want to live my life? This Bible has existed longer than you. It has existed longer than me. It will exist longer than any of us, because when God created this Bible, he said, man shall gather into dust, but he says, my word will never gather into dust. He says, this will endure for all eternity. He says the only thing that's going to disintegrate into ash, into the dirt that it came from, is me and you. And he said, if you don't follow what this Bible says, he says, you one day, and me, will be held accountable for our actions. So to a homosexuality, to a transgender, to anybody who wants to live that way, you may say, it's my decision, it's my choice, but you're wrong. Because someday, God is going to say to you, why did you live that way? He's going to judge everybody. He's going to judge me. He's going to judge you. He's going to judge all of us. But I have to ask a homosexual, if you think today in 2015 that life is only about yourself, that it always has been about yourself, that it always will be about you, and that this Bible is just a piece of paper, you are so wrong, because it's been around a lot longer than anybody else, and it's still going to be here. Another thing I would say is, another very sacred document that we have in America is called the United States Constitution. If you see how everything in our society is changing, that piece of paper is no more valuable today than it was maybe 20 years ago. People did value the Constitution. People did adhere to what it said. People did accept what it said. Now we don't have anybody looking at the Constitution anymore as being a valid document in the United States, because we are advocating hatred, and we're advocating the attitude that nothing is right anymore of a moral nature. Everything is basically about me, myself, and I. And if the government's not going to stand by the Constitution, which has existed since the foundation of America in 1776, then they should go to the Washington Smithsonian Institution and burn it, because the United States Constitution is supposed to be the document that as a nation we're supposed to uphold, and we're not doing that anymore because I don't think it's valuable. I don't think it's valued. I don't think anybody even accepts that the Constitution even exists, and that now we have to accept whatever anybody else says. And homosexuals come on YouTube all the time now, and they say I'm a bigot because I feel the way I do. I don't feel the way I do on just nothing except my own selfish needs. I see what this Bible says because it's been there a lot longer than I have. And anybody that says all this is a piece of paper that was written by men wouldn't be here today, folks. This is valued because people know who wrote it. It was men who wrote it because God inspired them to write it down, because this is His Word. And that's what it's called. Christians have always known that. Even people who are unsaved know what the Bible is. Homosexuals even say to this day, that's an invalid document. There's no proof in that. I would say people who even hate Christians say that the Muslims who kill people have more rights to do what they're doing than Christians who have never acted out violence against people in general. Obama has said in one of his sermons, which I call them sermons, that Christians have committed acts of violence against society in the past. And I have to say that's not true, because Christians were not those representing the Inquisition during the 11th and 12th centuries. Those were people who represented high enough ranking people in the Catholic Church who forced everybody to accept what's called Catholicism. And more Catholicism is about money. Getting what you have, taking what you have, forcing you to submit. Socialism today is that, because that's what Obama practices, and he has said it more than one time. That's what he wants America to be. Communistic socialists. And that is, you submit to what your government tells you to do, and that's the end of that subject. No ifs, ands, buts, nothing. You just do it, and that's it. And if you see what a homosexual's attitude is about themselves, that's exactly the same thing. You will submit to our attitude, you will submit to our lifestyle, you will submit to what we tell you to do, and how we accept ourselves, so therefore you have to accept us. And America, if not the world, has people called human beings who have free will. That means everybody has the choice to decide what they believe in. If we don't believe in homosexuality, who are you to say that we have to accept that? Who are you to say we're going to dictate what you do, how you live your life? Obama has been saying that since 2008. His wife says that every time she goes on television. I don't think y'all should be eating this in school. I'm getting rid of that. You're not going to be allowed anymore to eat that anymore. And attitudes of that same kind of attitude go in through Obama every single time he decides he wants this, he wants that. He'll use executive powers to submit people to his way of thinking about something. Amnesty for aliens, illegal aliens. And in a nutshell to this video today, I say this. This shirt says Mr. Bubble. You know what that implies? Clean the slate in your mind. Make it clear once and for all of those who people are thinking homosexuality is not only an acceptable attitude about the way you live, but that everybody else will be subjugated to believing that same philosophy. wrong. I have free will, and I'm going to say what I want to say. And if a homosexual says you're a bigot, then you ought to be looking at your own self and asking, am I a bigot for forcing other people to believe what I believe? Because then you're going to find out. I'm wrong to say to somebody else, you got to accept the way I accept things, because that's the way I want to live my life. You want to live your life the way you do it in your home. Do it the way the gays did it before all of them came out of their closets in the 1980s. Nobody had to see it going on, and nobody had to accept it, because they knew whatever's going on in your home is your own business. It's no one else's business what you do, but you don't have the right, and nobody should ever have the right to tell somebody else, you're going to live this way and you're going to accept this way because we tell you to. That's socialism. That is a subjugation of a person's free will to decide what they want. And this book, in closing this video, this book says one thing: man is a free conscience. God says to us, you decide what you want to do, but you have consequences of that action. And he says one day everybody is going to be held to account for that. And if you say that you are a freak of nature, that you exist because of an accident, then I pity you, because one day you're going to realize you were wrong, because somebody else is going to be there standing as your judge, and he's going to say, why did you deny that I exist? Why did you deny that you even are in existence by saying you were an accident? Everybody should read this book, because this book is true. This book means so much more than just words. It represents sanity, because everything in it makes sense. All you have to do is open it and read it. If you don't want to read it, if you think it's just a worthless piece of paper, it's been here 2,000 years already, folks. It's been here longer than you have. And that's why I'm saying in this video today, you haven't been the only thing in existence since this whole world was created. But homosexuality, transgender, everything else, 40, 50 years ago, it wasn't even spoke of. And now it's just being swamped in our minds, swamped in our faces by people who say, I don't care whether you want to hear it or not, I'm going to make you accept the way I live and the way I am. And the rational answer to that is, if we all have the choice to decide how we live, who are you to say that you can dictate how somebody else accepts something or how they live their lives? I'm not forcing you to read this Bible in this video today. I'm not forcing you to say, I think homosexuality is wrong, you shouldn't live that way. I'm saying this book says it's wrong. And all you have to do is either believe it or not. But whether you don't believe it or not, the fact of the matter is, you cannot tell somebody else how to live or how to accept what you live by, because everybody has the free choice to decide that, and not you. Thank you.